Should you focus on maximizing your strengths or fixing your weaknesses? Most of us tend to dwell on what we are not good at. We obsess over negative feedback from our boss or kick ourselves after failing a test. If you are stuck in this cycle of trying to fix your flaws, it's time to stop. Because the secret to success isn't to fix your flaws, but to amplify your strengths. By focusing on what you naturally excel at, you unlock new levels of growth and potential. Imagine tapping into what naturally energizes you, multiplying your results, and unlocking new levels of productivity that you never thought was possible. Maybe you're wondering, what if I don't have any strengths? How do I even find them? Or what should I do about my weaknesses? These are the questions that we'll be answering today. Hi, I'm Angela. I spent years trying to understand my strengths. I studied how successful people achieve phenomenal results and experimented with ideas from lots of great books. I've learned that everyone has strengths, and there's a process to turn them into superpowers that boost everything you do. By the end of this video, you will know why you should stop trying to fix your weaknesses and how to discover your personal strengths, so you can start to achieve more results with minimal effort and feel more energized and motivated every single day. Let's start by understanding what are strengths and weaknesses really, because chances are you've been thinking about them in the wrong way. Think back to a time when you were so immersed in an activity that the hours just flew right by in what felt like minutes. You were in your zone, fully engaged, and felt so good that you couldn't wait to do it all over again. Or recall if there were times when you just did something very naturally, and yet people around you went, "Wow, that was amazing, how do you do it?" That feeling of being in flow or doing something that just comes to you, these are all clues to your strengths. Because strengths are not just skills that you're good at. They are activities that naturally energize you, make you feel strong, and keep you coming back for more. In other words, they are like your superpowers, things that make you feel unstoppable, and things that others also recognize and admire in you. On the other hand, your weaknesses are like kryptonite, the things that drain your energy, suck the life right out of you, and make you feel weak and sluggish. You dread the activities, and you find yourself thinking, when can I just stop doing this? No matter how strong you are in other areas, trying to fight those kryptonites will just zap your motivation and hold you back from fulfilling your true potential. And this is where most people make their biggest mistakes. They try too hard to fix their weaknesses, like trying to do well in finance when they really hate numbers. Fixing your weaknesses is like trying to fill a leaky bucket. Sure, you can make progress, but it takes so much time and effort that it leaves you feeling drained and overwhelmed. You are much better off investing the same time and resources in your strengths, because you can get more results for every ounce of effort, and you feel good investing in those activities. In short, the secret to success and fulfillment is to maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. Put yourself in situations and roles where you can play to your strengths that energize you and maximize your impact. And stay away from the places where you know are full of kryptonite. Now that we know the ideal approach to tap into your strengths versus weaknesses, let's dive into a practical exercise to help you discover both of them. There are two essential steps to discovering your core strengths and weaknesses. First, we must start noticing our strengths and weaknesses as they happen so we can understand them. Then, once we have an idea of what they might be, we can verify them against 4 proven criteria. I adapted this quick discovery process from Marcus Buckingham's Go Put Your Strengths to Work. Let's go through this together. We'll start with the first step, capture and clarify. Over the next week, pay close attention to how you feel as you perform different activities throughout the day. Whenever you notice extreme feelings about an activity, jot it down quickly using words like "I loved it when" versus "I loathed it when." For example, you might notice, "I loved baking the cake for my best friend's birthday." Write that down with 2 to 3 sentences to describe why you felt that way. So maybe you can add, "It turned out amazing and I nailed that new frosting technique." You can separate them by using green post-it notes for the things that you love and red or orange post-it notes for the things that you don't love. Or just write them all down in a journal or a digital notepad. At the end of 1 week, we're going to gather the slips or journal entries and review them. We'll start with the green pile of activities to understand why you love those activities. And then we move to the red pile to understand what aspects of those activities make you loathe them so much. As you go through each one, consider, does it matter why you do this activity, who you do it with or for, when you are doing this activity, or what this activity is all about? And look for patterns. Do you see similarities in the activities that make you feel strong, or common threads in what makes you feel weak? Once you notice the patterns, try rewording the activities in terms of things that make you feel strong versus feel weak. For example, I feel strong when I'm cooking. But don't just stop there. It's important to add the context because you might realize that there are times when cooking is a joy, like when you're doing it for your family, but at other times it's a drag, like making lunch for work. So it's more precise to say, I feel strong when I'm cooking for people I love and getting positive feedback from them. Can you see how adding context clarifies what drives you? Here are some more examples. When I did this exercise, I started to notice a pattern. I'm often in my element when I'm integrating something, like organizing a team so that the right people is filling the right role, or combining different ideas into an innovative solution. Yay! I finally defined one of my core strengths. It might take you a few rounds of the weekly exercise to move from just noticing a pattern to being able to state your strength with confidence. And that's why we have the second step. Once you have an inkling about your possible strengths and weaknesses, let's validate these discoveries against the 4 signs framework. It's a good way to confirm if you have hit the nail on the head. So let's start with the 4 signs that help you to identify a strength. Success. Do you perform well at the activity, feel successful and accomplished while you're doing it? Instinct. Are you naturally and instinctively drawn to it? Is it something that you really want to do even if no one asks you to do it? Growth. Do you find it easy to focus on the activity, learn and improve while you're doing it? Do you get in flow more frequently when you're immersed in the task? Needs. Do you feel so satisfied by the activity that you can't wait to do it all over again? If an activity meets all the 4 signs criteria, it is a strength that energizes you and you should focus on. Now let's verify the weaknesses that bring us down. Weaknesses are the things that suck the energy right out of you. Deep inside, you probably already know the things that you dread or tend to avoid doing because they feel like a struggle every single time. This exercise will help you to confirm that knowledge or narrow down to the specific aspects of the task that you actually loathe. To identify weaknesses, look for the absence of the 4 signs. You feel frustrated, unproductive, and even useless while you're doing it. You have to force yourself just to start the activity. It feels like a struggle, and you aren't motivated at all to get better at it. You simply dread the thought of doing it again and would avoid it if possible. So, if you've been trying to fix your weaknesses, stop. Because you're just wasting your time, draining your energy, and slowing down your growth. Double down on your strengths instead. By this point, even without doing the weekly exercise, you might already have an inkling of what your top strengths or weaknesses might be. Jot them down and verify them over the next week with the 2 steps. With the 2-step exercise and the 4 signs framework, you now have a solid method to identify your strengths, your superpowers, and the kryptonite that holds you back. Remember, the secret to success isn't to fix your flaws, but to amplify your strengths. So, what's next? Start by capturing your I loved it and I loathed it moments, find the underlying patterns, and then verify them against the 4 signs. Lean into what energizes you so you can multiply your impact, enjoy your journey more, and feel unstoppable. Watch out for our next video on how exactly you can maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. Remember to subscribe to Growth Garden so you know when new videos drop. Meantime, share one of your key strengths in the comments below and how you plan to leverage it moving forward. Together, let's turn our strengths into assets. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video so we keep growing together.